An international conference on Imam Mansur Maturidi and the teachings of Maturidi, the past and the present, has started in Samarkand city today. The event is attended by a delegation led by the head of the Al-Azhar complex, Sheikh Ahmed El-Taib, as well as religious figures, Islamic scholars, heads of prestigious education institutions and research centers from almost 70 countries of the world. Our camera crew is also observing the process. Right now, Jamshid Soatov is attending the conference and we will try to connect with him. Good day, Jamshid. Please give more details about the forum.
Good day, Madina. It is worth mentioning that the main goal of this conference is to intensify the scientific works of our great ancestors, such as Imam Maturidi. And opening ceremony and the first panel session finished its work a few minutes ago, and the participants talked about the great reforms in Uzbekistan in the religious sphere in the last 3 years. And as it was noted, this event plays an important role in further strengthening the prestige of Uzbekistan in the world community, bringing the young generation in the spirit of respect for national values, for the country, love for the country. And it is worth noting that the opening ceremony, the participants noted about the great reforms in Uzbekistan in the religious sphere. As it was noted, over the past 3 years, more than 20,000 citizens who have been influenced the defense extremist terrorism structures have been excluded from special accounts list and pardoned by our president. And it is worth noting that the adoption of 9 decrees, which resulted in the release of more than 4,000 people from prison and the complete liquidation of the Justic prison, is also the vivid demonstration of the practically of humanitarian policy in the Uzbekistan. There are a lot of such examples, and right now we would like to talk with participants of this conference. Our first source is Serdar Kurnaz, foreign expert from Germany. Hello, and in the Uzbekistan, the special attention is paid to the study of the work of our great ancestors. And our president, in his parliament, in his message to parliament, focused his attention in this issue. So, what do you think? How much this is important for the country?
Thank you for having us here, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to participate on this very important conference. I think that Al-Maturidi is one of the glorious and one of the most influential scholars for the Sunni tradition and the Muslim tradition. So the focus on his work is urgent because until the last decades, his very impulses on the Islamic scientific tradition was not seen. So as far as we know that he was very influential here in Samarkand and elsewhere in the Muslim tradition, it is very important to focus on his works and on his also reception. That means that we have to trace back his ideas, his innovative ways of thinking theologically and also in terms of Islamic law by focusing on our ancestors like Alauddin al-Samarkandi or Abdulaziz al-Bukhari in the Hanafi tradition, and to trace back his influences and to see how he was thought by his fellow scholars and by his fellow colleagues, by his own students, to trace back these different narratives of Al-Maturidi to create a new Maturidian way of thinking, because Maturidi is very important partially on concentrating on the rationality of sciences. And as far as we concentrate on the rationality of sciences, there could be a glorious new time for Maturidian way of thinking in terms of usul al-fiqh, in terms of Islamic law, and also in terms of Islamic theology in general.
And what do you expect from the discussions and panel sessions during this conference?
My expectation is to see how the influence of Al-Maturidi was and where are scientific gaps to make more research on these gaps and to fulfill these gaps, because there is a lot of attention on Al-Maturidi, but there is a little have been done scientifically. And these conferences are also places to get some network. We have here scholars from all around the world, so we can connect together and fill the gaps that we have in the research area on Al-Maturidi thought.
Thanks for your opinions. Recall that more than 70 scholars from foreign countries are participating in this event, and we have another source. He is Kure Yakam. He is a professor of Hamburg University. Hello, Mr. And we know that you have a special topic during this conference. Can you talk about this?
Yes. My topic during this conference is about the epistemology of Maturidi, which means his theory of knowledge. How do I get to knowledge? How do I get to know the true religion? How can I distinguish between the true belief and a false belief? And what should I be careful and how should I approach science and knowledge in general, which is a part of my PhD actually, which has been published last year. And there I found that there is a misconception about Maturidi's approach to knowledge. I discovered this, so I'm excited to present it here and show and see what kind of reaction I will get.
What do you think? How much this conference is important not only for Uzbekistan but also for Muslim countries?
Very important, especially for Sunni Hanafi countries. It's very important because of Maturidi is one of the founders of Sunni tradition, Sunni Orthodoxy, right? So, and he had been forgotten for a long time in terms of scientific research, and we rediscovered him in the 1970s, and now there is more and more research to him. And the special thing about Maturidi is he's a refreshing person. He's a refreshing thinker. He thinks outside of boxes. So for us who we are in modern times struggling now to find our path into modernity and have to find new ways of coping with modernity, somehow Maturidi, who has nothing to do with modernity, is helping us very much because he was then also thinking out of the boxes. So he's very important for Muslims in general, Muslim theology in general, but especially for Sunni theology.
So thanks a lot for talking with us. As you see, the topic of this conference is very important not only for Uzbekistan but also for Muslim countries. And recall that a lot of discussions, panel sessions will be organized during this conference, which will finish its work on the March of 5th. In more details, we will give you in our next report. Thank you.